it's a very transformative energy, which is really wonderful. So everyone's probably feeling that that drive to try new things, change old things for new things. So I think the energy's really strong this full moon.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if there's what do they call it? Mercury in retrograde, because of all that stuff we've just had going on at the same time. But I don't
We
know
did
much
have a
about
Mercury in retrograde, which is actually a really good Mercury in retrograde. People don't like it because people get slowed down, but it's actually a really necessary time because it's a time for us to relook at things and number one, relook at our health and say, how am I actually feeling? But then it's a good time for you to look back on all your intentions that you set at the start of the year. And it gives you time to relook at them and say, I like the way that's going, but I actually want to fine tune some of my intentions and not do it that way. I've got a bit of time where you've got that little bit of pause time where you can look at things and do them differently if you want, or not do them at all. Choose something
Okay.
else to do.
Hey guys, thank you for being so patient because we've had tech issues all over the place. By the way, it's Paula Nutting, your musculoskeletal specialist, and I'm here for our monthly Ask Me Anything with wonderful Rob Lobosco, who's an Aussie like me, but he's got a lot of extra irons in the fire, if you like to say. He's got skills in naturopathy, and he runs retreats for wellness, and he's kind of like got that little bit of a happiness bug. But I'm going to, and it's going to be really kind of cruisy and interesting this hour for you. We've cut it a little bit short, but as we were just chatting, it's full moon for us right now, so anything can happen. So without further ado, please enjoy the next 50 to 60 minutes with myself and Rob Lobosco. So Rob, come on in. It'd be great to have a chat and find out what the happiness bug's all about.
Hello, everyone. Happy full moon.
Wow, there's a bit of buzzing going on there, Rob. I'm just kind of going, wow. But hopefully that. Oh, there it is. Better.
I have that effect.
It's been a wild ride the last little while. Before we get started, I just want to do a quick shout out to Q Academy, because those guys are one of my sponsors, which is awesome, and they are involved with education through Queensland primarily, but they're also branching out a little bit. And if you want accelerated learning techniques and to actually learn either your diploma remedial massage or your myotherapy, it's the most fun and the quickest way that you're going to absorb that stuff. So if you want to know a little bit more about learning how to become a remedial massage therapist, myotherapist, then just jump on and have a look at what Q Academy can give you, because they are fantastic. Brisbane, Sydney, Goldie, and starting to look up into regional rural areas, which is awesome. Anyway, enough about that. Rob, how are you?
I'm really good. Happy full moon to everyone. It's really, really electric energy at the moment. It's a very transformative energy, which is really wonderful. So everyone's probably feeling that that drive to try new things, change old things for new things. So I think the energy's really strong this full moon.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if there's what do they call it? Mercury in retrograde, because of all that stuff we've just had going on at the same time. But I don't know.
We did have a Mercury in retrograde, which is actually a really good Mercury in retrograde. People don't like it because people get slowed down, but it's actually a really necessary time because it's a time for us to relook at things and number one, relook at our health and say, how am I actually feeling? But then it's a good time for you to look back on all your intentions that you set at the start of the year. And it gives you time to relook at them and say, I like the way that's going, but I actually want to fine tune some of my intentions and not do it that way. I've got a bit of time where you've got that little bit of pause time where you can look at things and do them differently if you want, or not do them at all. Choose something else to do.
Sure. And like Hey, Tanya, good to see you. There's a few of my regulars that are coming in here, so it's great to say hello to them. Tanya's from the UK, which is actually from German.
Oh,
She's popped in.
okay.
This is more the UK, Europe time slot and Aussies than our mates from Canada and the States. So, but it'll be great to see if we get a spread today. Rather than jumping straight into this, because I'm super excited about learning about Mercury in retrograde and revisiting, regurgitating, redesigning, etc. But can you tell people who don't know who you are?
Okay, so I'm a doctor of Chinese medicine, and I founded Yira Health Retreat on the Mornington Peninsula.
Hey guys, it's Paula Nutting, your musculoskeletal specialist, and this is that awkward, cheesy kind of part of the video where I ask you a big favor. So if you want great content and lots of information, you can see down here in the little testimonials, there's free manual therapy information. There's really cool stuff on necks, shoulders, backs, hips, wrists, arms, etc., etc. I've got amazing Ask Me Anything podcasts and vodcasts that you can get free access to. If you want to get that great content, can I please ask you 3 things? 1, can you please subscribe to my channel? 2, can you hit the like button? And as they say, just smash the heck out of that like button. The more information that YouTube gets to me, the more I can give content to you. And if you can click on the bell, that will also give you timelines for when I'm actually dropping something into YouTube so that you can access it really quickly. So subscribe, like, and click on the bell, and I'm hoping to get you as much great content as I possibly can. Paula Nutting, your musculoskeletal specialist.
I founded that 17 years ago. So I've been running retreats for 17 years, and the retreats are really powerful. People come away for 5 days, up to 14 days.
Wow.
And we do lots of work, like, setting intentions. I use a lot of my Chinese medicine, so I do a lot of reset acupuncture. I've got my 3 books that I wrote. So one of my books is called Food for the Body, Mind, and Spirit. So I cook all the food from my book. And then everyone gets started on the workbook, Alone But Never Lonely. And I still do this book once every 2 years because it's a workbook that you work through to basically change your life. And then there's a numerology book and positive message book. So they come along, we do a whole heap of stuff. We do, obviously the healthy cooking and healthy eating. We do relook at their intentions and where they're going in life and what they want to change, what they feel they need to change. A lot of the time, what they need to change is a lot of their lifestyle and health, because their health has deteriorated because they haven't taken time to look after their health. So it's all about getting their health back on track. And then by day 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, it's about resetting those intentions, looking at where they're at, how far they've come, and where they want to go now. So it's a really good awakening period, and retreats are amazing. I mean, I do a lot of retreats myself. Mine are very, they're not regimented, but I have a set plan of where I want the person to get from day 1 to day 8. I have a pretty set plan of what I want to get done, what I want to introduce them to, what I want them to embrace, what I want them to take home and continue doing. And it's very simple things. It's things like, having a green smoothie per day, adding certain things into your diet to increase energy. I studied Chinese medicine, but as well as that, I did my research in diet therapy. So, and I basically wanted to learn about diet because diet is amazing. And we can actually heal and feel better and heal and stop dis-ease through the food we eat and what we do, our eating practices.
Yeah.
I mean, I want to ask a few people out there, how many people actually sit down to have their breakfast, lunch, and dinner? So we actually make it a ritual to sit and eat and talk. So at my retreats, there's no television, there's no phones, because it gives us a chance to talk and to eat and to masticate and to chew your food.
Yeah, exactly. I know that people don't recognize that there's the quality of chewing starts the whole digestive system off. There's your, there's your acids to start breaking things down. And if you don't do that, you haven't formulated that first initiation of digestion.
As well as that, it's a brain power. If you're just running and eating, the brain's not recognizing, oh, we're eating. The food is lost. We need to give the brain a moment. We need to get the food ready so we start smelling it. Our body and brain starts recognizing, oh, food's coming. Then we actually sit and we look at it and talk about it, and we talk about the ingredients, and we're starting to salivate. We're getting our brain ready. The brain needs a bit of time to click in and say, oh, we're eating now. Okay, hunger centers, we're going to nourish you now. And then we start eating. And then the brain actually feels better because it's receiving that nutrition. But, if you're running around doing a million things and chucking some food in your mouth, you're not allowing the brain to recognize. And this is why we've got the problem of obesity and problem of malnutrition. And I have a lot of people come and they say, oh, but my diet's really, really good. I say, okay, so we need to work on your eating practices.
Yeah.
Are you just shoving food in your mouth in the car? So, a lot of my clients now, they text me and they're proud because they say, look where we're eating. We're eating under a tree during their work break.
Yeah,
because they're actually stopping, sitting under a tree, or sitting, not in their car, just shoving food in their mouth for their brain to go, oh, what are we doing here? Are we working? Are we eating? Are we nourishing? So it's that sort of thing.
Yep. And, there's some really good points that you said there, because I have that conversation about nutritional medicine, because nutritional medicine is a thing. B, if you sit there and go, I've bought all organic food, yet you're sitting down with an iPad flicking through the news, not engaged in it. It can be the best food on the planet, but you're still not going to enjoy food like a goddess, we used to say. In your fact, if you're a guy, clearly not goddess, but like a warrior. Like, you want to have power, you want to have the strength, you want to, really sit there in that righteous space and eat beautifully prepared food. Tell me, what's your thoughts since post 2019 with the amount of stress and anxiety that people have got, and what's happening with their gut and their biomes?
Yeah, that's a really good point, because what I do a lot of in clinic and on retreats is stress-induced irritable bowel syndrome. I feel their pulses, I check their tongue, and you wouldn't think that they had the irritability in the bowel, or the what they classify irritable bowel syndrome. So there's this whole new thing of stress-induced irritable bowel syndrome. And that's just by, in Chinese medicine, if your energy's here and we're continually thinking, the energy isn't where it's meant to be. Our energy needs to be in our gut.
Yeah.
That's where all the digestion takes place. Whereas what's happened with this pandemic, even, we're all now in our heads. We're all in this fear-driven mode where we're all freaking out. What's going to happen next? I mean, we've got wars going on. We've got this going on. We've got that going on. So we're so in our head and worrying and stressing that now a lot of the irritable bowel syndrome is basically due to not enough energy being down there in the organs that need it, because we're brain tired. There's new stuff coming up every single day, and everyone wants to read now. Everyone's reading and on the internet, flicking through the iPad, like you said. Yeah. But we've become brain tired, and there's way too much energy in here. So this is why I love my retreats, because they bring back that happiness, because we go back to, let's do something happy. Let's get up in the morning, start with our affirmations, start off with our breath work. In Chinese medicine, it's called Da Qi. The food we eat is Gu Qi. So not Gucci like the brand, Gucci. Although I love Gucci. I always laugh with my clients because they always say, oh, we love your Gucci scarf on TikTok, because there's a TikTok video of me with a Gucci scarf. I say, yeah, I don't buy many bits, but I do like just a little bit. Like on a spoil day, I like to go and spoil myself. So we should, because that, gets... So basically, at the retreat, we do fun things. We get up in the morning and we all say, good morning. How many of us get up now and say good morning? That starts the brain going like, yeah, it is a good morning. We woke up. We're breathing. Good morning.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I run around saying, good morning, because it is a good morning. We've all woken up. We can all see, hear, breathe. So it is a good morning. And then we do like positive affirmations. These are so powerful, guys. We all need to start with positive affirmations. I'm in perfect health. I'm in perfect health. I'm in perfect health. And then you formulate simple affirmations that are going to work for you. The universe doesn't understand these big, complex affirmations. It's got to be something simple and wonderful that uplifts you. Instantly by doing that, and then of course some really nice healthy brekkie, to nurture, our blood sugar levels are down. So we do some breath work, some qigong. Qigong is amazing. It's breathing, using your breath to move energy around your body. So we do some qigong, and so already just those three basic things are increasing and giving you your dose: dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, endorphins. So your brain starts recognizing, oh, this feels really good. This is great. You're giving me positive breath. You're giving me positive brain food with the affirmations. You're giving me really yummy food. And then we go off for our beach walk and we do some more breathing down there, and we do a lot of letting go stuff. And so all these simple practices start to reset us.
Yeah. Yeah. How would you give someone who doesn't understand how to set an affirmation? Because there are a lot of people out there that go, oh, I can't even think of an affirmation. I don't know what that means. My life is terrible. What steps can you give people that might be listening today?
So what I say is we all have our not so good days. We never use the B word, because nothing is ever really, it's not so good. So even in those situations, by us saying something positive, our brain starts to recognize and starts following in that way. So, there might be a day where you wake up and you feel really low. Or like, a couple of days ago, I got up and I was, full of hay fever, and I was like, oh my God. And then I just set the affirmation, I am in perfect health today and every other day. So by saying it, your brain starts to recognize and it starts feeling that it is, and then you start feeling better, and then you drink more water, and you follow on with some healthy practice, like, even just a bit of breath work or a couple of poses of yoga or something. But an affirmation needs to be particular for you. People say, oh, Rob, can you write down a few affirmations? And I say, I think it's best if you come up with them simply and say them to yourself. And then when you say them to yourself, do they feel good, or do you feel like a bit of a, like, oh, actually, no, I don't feel good saying that. Like, and there's some people that still have the problem of believing they are abundant. We're all born abundant. But there's certain people on a retreat that they don't feel comfortable saying, I'm abundant. I'm a miracle magnet. I'm a miracle magnet. So I let it go for the first, second day. And then I say to them, well, do you realize you're a miracle already? Like 1/1,000,000th of that sperm chose to make you.
Yeah.
So you're a miracle already. And they go, oh, yeah. And I say to them, you don't have to say it right now, but I am a miracle magnet. I wake up and say that every morning because I am a miracle. 1/1,000,000th of a sperm chose to make me. Like, I find, and during bioscience, I found that so incredible that I kept going back to it. And I think my bioscience lecturer must have been thinking, why does he keep coming back to that? And why I kept coming back to it was because I found it absolutely fascinating.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's absolutely right. So
I find that so fascinating. And so people still have this resistance to being for miracles to happen for them and for abundance to happen for them. So I gently awaken them to that. Like, by day 3 or 4, because, there's some blokes that come and you can't just launch into all of this. You've got to gradually, and there's a certain level of trust, like particularly with males. And if there's any males out there, no disrespect to any male, I'm just basically, I think, males take that little bit more, of the trust, and it's, pretty full on. People are putting the next 8 days before a retreat into the hands of a specialist as myself that's been doing it for a long time. So, but I find, it takes a while for people to realize that abundance and miracles happen. They're happening all the time. So it takes a bit of time to launch into all of that.
And men tend to be a bit more data, like that. They're more of an IQ versus EQ, where women are very EQ. And this is a very big, broad statement, but I'm just talking about that nature
you got it. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. So it's more, it's just more the gender differences. I mean, there are gender differences without being too I mean, there definitely are.
Yeah, I know, exactly. Now, you hear people that it's about that self-sabotage, lack of feeling like they're worthy, is that kind of, I don't believe that I can be there because it might be that Protestant work ethic that a lot of us have, where we work 24/7. I'm not allowed to give myself time to actually believe that I'm wonderful.
And guys, self first is not selfish. I had these mothers come on the retreats and they're like, oh, I feel so guilty being here because my kids. And I'm like, you need time. You need this for you to feel better so you can be a strong mother and be a strong wife. So, guys, self first is not selfish.
Yeah, well said, Rob.
Not only mothers, fathers as well. Fathers, and I really love it. I love it when the wives book a retreat for the husband, and this happens so many times.
Yeah.
This happens so many times. And, the guys get there and they're like, oh, God, what has she booked me into? And then, I make it fun. I show them, I say to them, 1 or 2 days a week, why don't you just use this book, which is basic. It's basic. Make your wife and family the Mexican chili bean shepherd's pie. So I start getting them interested in doing things for health.
Wow.
Yeah,
I can't even getting in to cook anything much more than the steak on the barbie. I'm going to have a look at that.
Guys, meat stays. I mean, I tried doing being a vegan. It was very, very tough because I love my scrambled eggs, and I'm Italian, so once a month or whatever, I like to have just a little bit of like the bolognese and stuff like that. But remember, meat stays in the body for 22 days. So just limit the amount of limit the amount of meat you eat. So just maybe have it. I always say to my clients, and even on retreat, well, on the retreat you don't have any meat because we're cleansing everything. And then I do like the reset acupuncture. I do things like lymphatic drainage massage.
I'm going to ask about that. Yeah, because I think that's kind of cool. I really want to find out, give people some tips on where they can be working to assist them.
Well, apparently I was told that I'm one of like 14 specialists that does lymphatic drainage massage. So why don't people do it? Don't they teach it in courses anymore?
Oh, no, we got
massage course.
That's weird. No, it's out there. MLD practitioners.
Bizarre.
Yeah,
you know, there's a certain technique for lymphatic drainage massage. There's a very certain technique. You know, you do the glands, but you don't do too much on the glands because basically you're massaging the glands and getting the nasties out. You don't want to do too much of that, but you just facilitate the body gently to doing it. You do a little bit and then you facilitate the body to do the rest, like, you know, with some water flushing. So then we do like a day where we stop eating at 6 p.m. and we don't eat again till, you know, 11 a.m. And then we do like the legs up on the wall, which is really good to get everything flowing. But just back, I just want to backtrack a little bit back to when the wives book their husbands.
Yeah.
And then by the end of the retreat, I've never, ever, ever had a bad experience where, because, you know, retreats, you go through varying emotional things, but everyone sometimes tries to keep their emotional stuff. But, you know, then we spend a lot of time together, particularly over an 8-day retreat, and slowly, like either on a walk or at the beach, things will slowly come up. And those moments are just beautiful. Like, I find those moments so beautiful.
Yeah.
You know,
I've got a friend of ours, and she just sent her husband to a retreat up here in Brisbane or Queensland. And he was exactly what you said. Oh, you know, I don't think, not that keen. And then he got home and he's like, oh my God, it was the most amazing experience of my life. He said, I'm completely, now I do like breath work or meditation in the morning. I walk like I'm just, he was a different person when he came back.
Beautiful.
And still is a different person. He's super happy with it all.
Yeah. And what I find is, once they start letting go of a little bit of, you know, in Chinese medicine, we look at it as the onion, and you're peeling that onion layer by layer. And once, you know, even with the body work I do, like I'll do reset acupuncture, then I do ear acupuncture, which the ear is amazing. The ear is absolutely amazing. So if you look at someone's ear, it's like a baby in utero. So I use a lot of reset acupuncture on the ear. And then what I find is always day 5 of detoxing is large intestine. Well, we hold a lot of emotions in our bowel. When we're scared, we don't go to the toilet. When we're, you know, when we're worried, we get constipated because our bowel holds. So by day 5, I'm always like, ooh, I'm waiting for, you know, like an emotional surfacing. Like it's an emotional surfacing. And those moments are amazing because they share things, you know, it could be like, okay, so my last retreat, the person started talking about their time when they were overseas and how they had to walk with no shoes because they had no money. And so all this stuff, and it was on the beach, and we just kept casually walking and talking, and, you know, but and then later on in the treatment, he actually said, wow, I've never ever spoken about that, and I feel my gut feel better, and it doesn't feel in knots. I can't remember exactly how he put it because he's got a bit of an accent in knots, the tightness in the tummy. And I thought, wow, how long have you been carrying that? And these are the amazing, that's just one example, but these are the amazing things that start to
bubble up,
come out, evoke, or, and they're just really beautiful moments for them. And it's really nice for me to think, just a few treatments. This is, around day 4, day 5. And then I like to do 8-day retreats, because then, we sort of have a bit of fun the last 2 days. It's not so, because I've got to get a person from here to there, and I've got to make sure that I have everything in place to be able to do that. So it's a big job, but it's a really great job. That's why my retreats I never do a retreat more than 5 people. I just like to do, I actually really like 3 people. I do one-on-ones as well. I love one-on-one retreats.
Yeah, that's amazing. My sister lives down in Frankston, so I kind of close-ish in that area, like a little bit close-ish, but Mornington Peninsula is amazing. Rob, I want to ask about some of the stuff that people could use with their ears and stuff, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw over to the Q Academy, and we're going to have a brief promo for those guys, and then we'll come straight back and talk about all of the amazing things that you can tell people like DIYs after that. So let's see what we've got about Q Academy.
Right.
My name is Jade Afu. I studied Cert 4 massage in 2014 and then went on to remedial in 2015. I was working in ASICS. I was retail, Lorna Jane. The real reason why I went and studied was my daughter was, she's been quite sick for about 7 years on and off. She's had a couple of chronic conditions. So I found it hard working in a job and having to leave because my children are sick, or I've got to go to hospital, or there's just so many things going on. For me, I needed another option. I've been set up for about 8 years now, working from home. Having a home business has been like such a blessing to my life. I don't think I could have done what I've done somewhere else just with my own circumstances. My life's very busy. I've got 3 kids. And this year has been a little bit different again because now I've got 3 kids playing sports every afternoon. So I do try, if I can, work in between school hours. I feel like you can make it work to your advantage. So you can either work as hard as you want and be stressed and all the things, or you can make it flexible.
Hey!
Wow, that's awesome. Q Academy.
Yeah, they're really great guys. I worked for them years ago, and I'm on 2 of their educational pathways for on the education of higher ed, their Q for higher ed. So that's pretty exciting. Anyway, if you're interested in doing a course to upskill yourselves, then I would always suggest that Q is a great place to play. I can't
do it, guys. Do it. And do cupping. Cupping is absolutely amazing. Cupping and gua sha, all massage therapists need to do cupping and gua sha. Cupping is amazing. It's amazing.
I've got my kids back there. Yeah. So with cupping, quite often we'll do slide cupping or just sit it on a spot. If there's someone's got a dirty old trigger point in here, I'll do a little cup in that one space while I'm doing other things, and then come back, and it's generally eased off.
But the most amazing thing, and I've had massage therapists come and do my retreat, and I put the cups on their stomach, and they're like, wow, on the stomach. And I say, yes, you're getting lots of blood to the stomach area to get rid of all the poisons.
Oh, yeah. And that's working with the TCM. Exactly. No, that makes sense. So, Rob, tell me, if I've got not that I am a smoker or excessive drinker or obsessive compulsive, might be a little on that, workaholic, can't sleep, What's some tips that we can give the people that are listening to us who go, wow, Rob, I can maybe do that? Those people who can't get to a retreat with you because they live somewhere else.
I think with addiction, I mean, I help a lot of people with coffee addiction, alcohol addiction, cigarette, nicotine addiction. So they don't have something else to love. So I say to them, those things are like something you love. Imagine it like something you love. You've got to fall out of love with it. So you need to add other things in that you love that give you that feeling. It's almost like a love thing. So you need to actually first start by falling out of love with that and incorporate enough stuff in that you do love. The best thing is Qigong. Like Qigong and breath work is amazing, because basically you're filling up. You're continually filling up. Then you're releasing and letting go. But it's more the filling up. Like, your lungs feel great. And I say to a lot of, because sometimes I do have people come and do a retreat and they say, look, we're cutting down, we're gonna limit down to 3 or 4 cigarettes a day during the retreat. I said to them, look, I can't police that. My recommendation would be for these 8 days, try not to. Well, after all that filling up of good air, good food, that all their herbal teas and everything, they don't want to have a cigarette.
Yeah, I love.
So then by day 5, I say to them, "Why is it that you're not having a cigarette?" And they say, "Well, one, we're feeling a lot better." I say, "Yep." So, and then I say to them, "I'm getting you addicted to the feeling of feeling great," and they say, "Yeah." So it's getting addicted to the feeling of feeling great. You probably got friends like this, or people out there have got friends like this. When your mate, well, my mates, when they start their health regime and they start doing their running and waking up in the morning and eating their healthy stuff, they don't even want to go out anymore, because it's like, okay, so you're not going to come out to the party? And they're like, no, we're not going out to the party because we're not drinking, we're not smoking, we're not doing anything. And I say to them, well, you can still come out and socialize, but they don't, because they're addicted. They're addicted to that feeling of feeling great. And then, sometimes, and usually what I've found, particularly even with clients and friends, it takes like a life stressor to knock them off the wagon. And generally it's, they have a struggle at work, they have a struggle in their relationship, they have a struggle in their family, and then they fall off the wagon. But I think the best DIY, do it yourself at home would be, the DIY that I would recommend is just incorporate 2 or 3 things that you absolutely love. Like, it's easy for me to say, why don't you meditate every morning? I like meditation. Meditation isn't for everyone. Some people, it drives them absolutely batty. Some people are like, I'm not going to sit there and meditate. And I'm like, okay, you don't have to. What else would you like to do? I want to get up and go for a run. Okay, well, there you go. Are you going to love that? Yes, I'm going to love that.
And they meditate when they're running quite often, because their minds are still. And,
The other big one is swimming. Lots of people say, I just want to get to a pool, I want to swim. And I said, well, what's stopping you? Do it. Get up an hour earlier, get to the pool, do your swim, and see how you feel afterwards. But don't have a cigarette or any sugar or coffee, because a lot of people come because they drink way too much coffee. So my retreats, there's usually a lot that come because they want to get off caffeine, which is a big thing, because they'll work in the city and they'll get, a latte before they go to work. So I said to them, okay, start by going to the pool. Don't have your latte. See how you feel, whether you want your latte after the swim. Most of the times they don't, because they're oxygenated. Their body feels great. They're energized. They don't need that coffee to energize. So, and then I put them on, certain tinctures and stuff like that to help them as well. So I think do it yourself is find a few other things that you really love doing.
Yeah.
You need to fall out of love with the things that are bad for you and fall in love with things that suit you. And, meditation isn't for everyone. And I've found that over the 17 years of running retreats, for some people, meditation is laying in Shavasana, looking up at the sky. And I say to them, great. While we're doing our meditation and our chants, you do what feels comfortable. Others will say, Rob, I feel fidgety sitting during the meditation. Can I just walk along the beach? I say, of course you can. Yes, that's great. You know where we are. We're going to be sitting here doing our meditation. If you want to go for a little walk, you know where we are. You come back and you join in whenever you feel comfortable. So it's about finding what works for you. And we are complex individuals.
Yep. And I read somewhere that you can't remove a habit. You've got to replace a habit, and that's what you're saying here. Replacement versus removal, because it just doesn't work otherwise. So, like you saying, you got to fall in love. Like for an example, habitually getting up in the morning and having a cup of coffee, and even though it's just black, it's the habit of. I've recently changed to having a cup of tea and going, and the process of, I bought a new kettle, I put it on the stove, I wait for the whistle to whistle. It's creating a new neural pathway and sitting down and enjoying that cup of tea. And I don't feel like a coffee unless I put my brain into saying, oh, I think I'm going to make myself have a cup of coffee. Otherwise, your brain doesn't need it. Because there's a little bit of caffeine. Well, the tannin's got more of a kick in it than caffeine most times. I read that statistic somewhere.
Yeah, coffee addiction is one of the big ones at the moment, and sugar addiction. Like, people are eating way too much sugar. And guys, sugar's we all know sugar's bad for you, but sugar is what triggers a lot of the nasty diseases. It causes inflammation. It causes all sorts of complications in the gut. Sugar and caffeine, limit it.
And stop your phone, because every time you click on that, it's the same sensory spot. It's your dopamine, like you're trying to get a fix. These things should be put away. Even emails, turn them on in the morning and then turn your emails off, like shut the program down, because you keep going back to it and you're losing you. Like we lose us in the process of being in this maze of advertisements and buy this and do that. It's the world's crazy.
What I say on the retreats is we're here for less than 100 years. Do you want to spend 1/3 of that time on your phone? No. If you don't get definitely
anything,
not. So it's about replacing, and we do need to replace a habit. I mean, kicking a habit is really, really difficult, and I totally get that. I totally get that. I mean, I haven't had a drink for 30 months. I chose that because it used to make me feel quite lethargic. Like, I would only have, I'd have like a couple of drinks on a Wednesday, Friday, and maybe Saturday, 2 or 3 drinks. But I used to feel so tired. And I thought, why am I going out and having a drink with friends when I don't need it? And I don't. So 30 months. But in saying that, the evenings, like particularly on the Wednesday when we caught up with friends. So what we do now is we make sure that we do something fun. Like, I'll cook something and we'll take it to the park and we'll sit and we'll have a nice meal. I'll cook, I'll do some cooking. My friends will still drink and that's fine. But I just thought, so where I'm trying to go with this is recognize what you're doing. It's like with people that smoke. They're like, oh, I get really lightheaded after a cigarette and I feel a bit faint. And I'm like, then why are you doing it? So you need to recognize, is what you're doing feeling good or not feeling good? A lot of the times it's not feeling good. For me, even those 3 drinks on a Wednesday, Friday and Saturday were making me feel quite quite lethargic. And then all I wanted to do was go to bed. Whereas now I can still go out, drink my cranberry juice or soda water and still have heaps of energy. Like even now it's nearly 9 o'clock and I'm full of energy. Whereas if I'd had like a glass of wine or something like that, it makes you feel so sluggish and tired.
And acidity, guys, especially wine, especially white wine. I want, next time you have a glass of wine, I want you to come into yourself and feel at your stomach. Feel it. Actually put your hand in that space and hear, because you can feel the acid and it's like it is just chewing you up. You're right, Rob, it's all inflammatory.
Yeah, it is. It's inflammatory. It's full of sugar. Alcohol's full of sugar. And, I've done a lot of research, particularly over this pandemic thing.
Yeah.
And I wanted to learn a lot more about certain dietary things. And I mean, alcohol, what it does, and sugar's what it does. Okay, in saying this, if you enjoy having a few drinks, I'm not preaching to you and saying, don't drink, don't do this, don't do that. Because I think some people really enjoy it. Like I know my dad had his 88th birthday yesterday. And he only has 1 glass of red wine at lunch and 1 glass at dinner. So he always says to me, gee, Rob, it's really good that you've just not having anything at all. I said, well, Dad, I always only used to have about 3 glasses. And it didn't feel good. So if it doesn't feel good, you don't do it. I think it's what you say. Go listen to your body, listen to what it's doing. Does it feel good? Yeah, it feels good. It makes me feel a little, it makes me relax a little. Okay, that feels great. So it's about recognizing what feels good and what doesn't feel good. And I know for me, it just didn't feel good. It didn't feel good. And so I haven't, had any for 30 months.
Well done. We had, when I was doing my myotherapy, my musculoskeletal degree, we had one of the teachers there who said that for cluster headaches, a glass of wine, we're talking about 75 mils, guys, not those great big things that people get now, because it's a vasodilator, and quite often cluster headaches are because it's constrictions up through here, and so 75 mils of wine just may be enough to actually cut the headache down. So there's the Romans drank it, the Greeks drank it. There's efficacy in moderation when there's bits and pieces. Like it's for a celebration, it's for an event. It's not because it's Monday night. I'm going to hook into a carton of Stubbies.
But that's a big problem when people come to retreats. They're like, so they like to have their a lot of people like to have it's almost like a reward thing. They finish off the day and they feel like their brain needs to be rewarded, and so I get them into thinking of other things they can reward themselves with. 2 of the guys that just recently did a retreat, they said, we're going to go for a swim. They live in Bayside, so they live right near the beach. So they started doing, instead of both of them catching up and having a drink, they started doing swims in the bay.
Wow.
Summer, winter, autumn, spring, it didn't matter. And I said to them, wow, okay. That got them off the booze. Got them off the booze. Because they said, oh, we feel so fantastic. We get out there, we do our swim, we don't even think about alcohol. And then I think they go and have a meal or whatever. I said, that's awesome. I mean, I didn't do that. I didn't substitute it with I did a lot of hot yoga, but they substituted grog for swimming in the bay every single night after work. So that worked for them, and they're still alcohol free.
Yeah, Isn't that incredible? That's such a good story, because we need to, as you said, find something that you love and replace it with that. And you're right about oxygenation, getting that breath in, really a diaphragmatic breath, not these big fat scalenes that are working here, helping them to take in gorgeous breath. Tell me, what do you put in that smoothie in the morning? Is there something you'd obviously it's to alkaline the body, but is there anything you'd tell the people out there?
So every morning, a really good smoothie is just make your own. So you basically just put a really good muesli. So I put a cup of muesli into the blender. I put LSA, which is fantastic because you're getting your good fats: linseed, sunflower, almond. I put some coconut. If I've got fresh coconut, I'll chuck that in there, because you need the good oils, the good fats to start, your brain going and everything. If you haven't got that, you can put a little bit of coconut oil. Then I put half a kiwi with the skin on it. I throw a pear in there. I like to use banana sparingly just because it's so high in sugar, but bananas are fantastic. You can put a banana in there. So I like to have that vitamized with some coconut milk or oat milk. So that instantly starts giving your brain food, good fats. It's the good fats, the coconut fats and the good fats. And then your brain starts going, oh, I feel good now because you've given me a bit of sugar, a bit of, a bit of good fats, obviously a bit of carbohydrate to get the glycogen and brain function going. And then I always recommend, at least 1 to 2 green smoothies every single day.
Okay.
So in a green smoothie, I put in broccoli, I put zucchini, I put cucumber, I put celery, I put a bit of apple, not too much apple because that's also got a lot of sugar, a little bit of kiwi fruit, I put a little bit of pear, and then I just put coconut water. Coconut water is amazing. Coconut product is amazing, guys. Lowers your cholesterol, very good for your heart, very good for your blood, very good for immunity. So I recommend 2 green smoothies every day. Now, the good thing is, on days that you are really, really busy and you can't fit many meals in, at least you started off with a really good high-powered breakfast. You've got vegetables and fruit with your green smoothie. So in between, you can just have you can have a rice noodle, or if you work, in the city, get a quick rice noodle that's easy to eat. So, but even so, you've started off with 3 things that you can do that are good for you and your health and your body that are so easy. And the green smoothies, just whiz them up and just chuck them in 2 jars. Jars with the screw lid.
Yeah, the mason jars, I think they call them. Yeah. So you don't put spirulina or chlorella or any of those things that make it taste.
No. And then it's really good to have things like licorice tea. Licorice root tea is amazing because it's good for the blood, it's good for the kidneys, it's good for energy. Peppermint tea is absolutely amazing. It keeps you uplifted. It's very good for mind clearing. Peppermint tea, a bit of rooibos tea for the blood, especially.
What does rooibos do? I've seen my mum used to drink rooibos tea.
Rooibos is amazing for immunity. It's so good for immunity and blood.
Okay. Wow.
And blood cleansing as well. The other one that's really, really wonderful is the oolong tea, because that's flushing. But if you're at work, you don't want too much oolong tea, otherwise you're going to be that's almost like a semi-detox.
Oh, so not before bed, right?
No. So have it a good time that I have it. So I've had a little bit of oolong earlier, so I have it between 3 and 4.
Mm-hmm.
And then 4 hours later, you get a really good cleanse. Urinary cleanse and bowel motion cleanse, and then it doesn't interrupt your sleep, because that's the other thing I want to speak about, guys. And this is one of the things that causes the most dis-ease and that is sleep. We need adequate amounts of sleep.
Yeah.
So we need to work, rest, and play. They're the three things we've got to get into balance. So on retreats, I help people with this. And so they say, oh, but when we lay down, we've got to sit on our phone to sort of get our mind off the day. And I say to them, well, no, breathing's another good way of doing that. The 4-8-7 breathing in for 4, holding for 8, out for 7. So I bring them back to doing the breathing because sleep is so important for lowering dis-ease.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we want our body to be in ease. All our systems in our body need to be in ease. So on retreats, I'm amazed the amount of people that don't sleep properly. And a lot of people are going on 3 or 4 hours a day.
Yeah. What's that, bro? Women who have well, I mean, I'm only talking about women because I talk to a lot of them. They'll say, I wake up at 2 or 3 and I can't fall back to sleep. So will that 4-8-7 help, or is it what else can they do at 3 o'clock in the morning where they've got monkey mind?
The other thing I find, we've got the thymus gland, which sits behind the sternum. There's a lot of acupuncture points around that area as well. So a really good thing to do is tap gently on your thymus gland.
Okay. So
because it lowers it, like, don't bash it. Don't bash on it. It's the thymus gland. So, like when a gorilla goes to battle, they go, whoa, because it lowers anxiety, lowers their fear. And the thymus gland, it sits behind the sternum. So you've got the sternum here, which is the chest bone. That's the chest bone. Mm-hmm. And so the thymus sits pretty much midway, so pretty much nipple level. So nipple level. And so behind there sits the thymus. So gently tapping. Because I sometimes suffer with insomnia as well, especially around this full moon period. So I just lay there. I do my 4-8-7 breathing. And then I just tap gently. I tap gently on the thymus.
Yeah.
Just really, really gentle.
So what about pituitary or pineal or any of those? Because some people talk about working through those glands.
Yep, I like the third eye. I usually place my amethyst, and I place that on my third eye. As well as that, I love putting rose quartz over your heart chakra.
Yeah.
Which is really good.
Yeah.
The other thing that really works is holding pieces of rose quartz in your hands and squeezing and releasing. Squeezing and releasing. Squeeze, release.
What does the rose gold? Can I have rose gold? No, rose quartz. What does that? How does that?
Rose quartz is really good. Rose quartz is a really good, and this is a good time to put all your rose quartz out so that it gets cleansed by the full moon. But rose quartz is a harmonizing stone. It's a beautiful harmonizing stone. So it harmonizes high blood pressure, blood flow, helps with blood flow, as well as that mind easing. And amethyst on the third eye or the pineal gland is really good as well, because amethyst is an amazing, beautiful stone. It's a healing stone. But the rose quartz is very good in harmonizing central nervous system.
Okay, that's cool to know. That's really cool to know, because a lot of people, that's where we're going right now. Our central nervous systems are crap, overwhelmed, abused, and we need ways to calm them down. So
yeah,
yes,
yeah.
Full moon. All of your crystals out in the full moon.
Yeah. I'm going to put them all. I've just ran them under. I've ran them all under cold water. So now I'm just going to put them out. I had them out earlier, but I don't like leaving them in the sun for too long. So I'll put them all out under the full moon tonight.
Wow.
Yes, I've got like aventurine, my jade. I've got rhodonite. I've got carnelian, which is beautiful. It's a beautiful stone, carnelian. very good for the second chakra, so creativity and sexual chakra. So I use this a lot for fertility retreats. Yeah, it's beautiful, the carnelian.
Pretty.
Yeah, it's orange.
Which is your second chakra? Red, orange, yellow.
Second
ding.
chakra, yep. So get all of your stones. Oh, the beautiful one that I love is my mum's ruby ring. I put my mum's ruby ring out as well.
Oh, well, I've got her ruby ring. Wrong way. Her ruby ring.
Wow! They're connecting, Paula.
Look at that. Shazam. Do you remember the movie?
Wow!
How funny is that?
I'll tell you what, this ring of hers is so full on. Like I'll put it on and I'll just have this immense like feeling of knowing. It's just it's just a beautiful stone. But I'll put this out as well to cleanse the ruby stone.
Okay. Yeah, so I'll do that. What about diamonds? The same?
Diamonds as well. Put everything. Yes, I've got my dad gave me his tie pin and that's got diamonds on it. So I pop that, just put it out. Like I've got a little courtyard. So if you don't want to put certain jewelry out, like if you live in an apartment or something, you can just put it even on the ledge of your window.
Yeah.
On the window ledge.
Yeah. How does the moon do it? Like what's the I know we've only got a minute left.
Amazing properties. Like I even put my face roller. I love my face roller. A lot of people have got jade face rollers.
Yeah.
This is the other thing that I kept out because I wanted to tell people I do a lot of cosmetic acupuncture. I learned cosmetic acupuncture during Chinese medicine. So I learned it because, when I did my course, I was like 18, 19, 20, 21. And we're all a bit vain at 18, 19, 20, 21. Now I couldn't care less. I don't care how many wrinkles are on my face. But, you're a little bit vain when you're studying it. You've got to look perfect. And so I did, but cosmetic acupuncture is amazing. So my hay fever, I've been doing acupuncture on my face. I've got my needles here to do my acupuncture after.
Yeah.
I acupuncture my face and my hay fever just goes because I don't take Zyrtec or whatever those other medications are. I just acupuncture my face. But the roller, guys, is amazing because it gets blood and chi to the area, to like your face area.
Okay.
And then you can, do. Now, on the face, there are so many sensory nervous system acupressure points. So you're stimulating all those points, which is amazing.
Yeah.
You're bringing a lot of chi and blood to the face area, and it's and you get a bonus as well. Your skin looks great.
We need that. I mean, because we're always hiding under fluorescent lights, etc., etc. Yeah, Tanya's just said thanks for the reminder. She's going to get her stones out right now as well. So, and I'll dig mine out and pop them somewhere. I mean,
yeah, I got a whole heap. I've got these. Oh, and I've got this one. I love this one. My selenite. Guys, all of you need to get a selenite.
Wow, look at that. What does selenite?
Wow, indeed. This is amazing. I use this in clinic as well. And what it does is it cleanses people's aura. So when people come in and they're like, oh, like this, it's been such a busy day at work and I've done this and I've done this. And their energy is like, before I even start doing a treatment, I just need to bring the aura. I need to just harmonize the aura. Selenite is beautiful for that, guys.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, that's incredible.
Selenite. 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 Selenite.
We'll put that down in the Facebook thread so that people can write that down. Selenite. I like the little brass.
Yes, and honestly, Paula, even you in clinic, like just get a little thing that you can put it on. I mean, you can tell the person. You can tell the person when they come in. You can say, "I'm just gonna, use some selenite. You can get a selenite wand, but my selenite wands keep breaking. I don't know why. I think the energy's a bit too strong.
Yeah.
This is a black onyx wand, which is really, really good. It's great for kidneys, but as well as that, for protection. But selenite is amazing because, as you say, in these times where there's a lot of stuff going on, our nervous system is all a little bit it's just everyone's nervous system's a bit almost like fractured. It's almost fractured. So this just helps harmonize.
It's funny. I don't have very much of anything, but every now and then I do pull out my gorgeous bowl and come around with it. Yeah, it just makes me. How are you doing this? Are you giving it to them or are you having them? I think Tanya's just asked, how are you doing that? You're actually just, how are you clearing or calming them down with the selenite?
Sometimes, Tanya, I don't say anything at all. Other times, I just go a little bit over their bodies
when they're lying down,
and go over their bodies. I do it on myself as well before I go into clinic. I just do a bit of a just a few times up and around, around the arms, over, and you just waft it around. I mean, it's easier with a wand, but my selenite wands keep breaking. So I've just gone with a sphere now.
So you can actually, Tanya, you could put them down on the table and just as your first move, just go around to just kind of do that in that space. It's funny, last month we talked on aromatherapy oils and the qualities of how that helps. So this has been a lovely segue through, but I'm mindful that we've gone over the hour of our hour.
I didn't even realise.
I know.
I didn't even realise.
Because we had so much fun. I know. Rob, I would love to have you back at some stage to talk more about and all sorts of things.
We're fine now. We've worked out the link. Sorry, apologies, guys, for the delay. The initial link, I kept pressing it, but then what I thought, you know what? I'm going to switch my phone on and off, and that worked. So the link, I kept pressing it, and it wasn't. And I also I tried the link. I tried the link on the weekend because I thought I need to try the link and make sure it works okay on my phone, and it worked. That's why I was like, why isn't it working at 7:45? But anyway, it worked. It worked out. So, but apologies for being a little bit late.
That's right. You've given us lovely content. We've gone a little bit over it now. So we've kind of, everything's beautiful. And Rob, thank you so much for giving us some of your pearls of wisdom. And guys, if you're interested if you're in Australia or New Zealand, or you don't mind flying over here, check out Yera Health Retreat, YERA. So Yankee Echo Romeo Alpha Health Retreat. And even just having a look at the books, maybe they can send them out for postage, et cetera, or get them in PDF form, I guess.
Yeah, you can get them on PDF form. So if you go to the website, guys, www.yerahealth.com.au, on the left-hand side, you'll see Yera Bookstore, and you'll see my three books. And I want to do a little giveaway. So anyone who purchases my 3 healing ebooks will get my 2 novels absolutely free as well. So I'll mail all 5 books to you for the price of the 3 healing books.
Nice. Wow. Well, I'm keen on getting Ian to understand how to cook green nachos. That sounds like a fully fun thing to do for him. and I'm going to be playing in the book space. So that's Father's Day. It's belated, but it'll be, or an early Christmas gift. But well, thank you so much, and I'm going to grab you and stick around after so I can say goodbye properly. Thank you everybody who's showed up and been asking questions. Don't forget, this is going to be on Rob's website, like on his pages. It'll be on my pages for a while, and they'll be up in the YMS page for a while. Then it'll go back into the Massage Mentor Mastership page, which is my special group where I try to nurture people up through their education experience. Awesome. So not that I plug that too much when I'm doing this, because it's all about everybody else. So Thanks so much for coming, Rob. Everybody,
Thank you.
not sure what we're doing next month, but I'll let you know between now and then. But,
Yes. And thank you, viewers, and peace and light to each and every one of you. Thank you for joining us and listening to Paula and I.
Thanks, Titch. Thanks, Yvonne. Thanks, Christine. Thanks, everybody. See you later.